Breaking developments joining us, Mark Thiessen, fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and Robert Zimmerman, veteran Democratic strategist, also Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst and Russia expert. And we begin tonight, Mark, with you. Good to have you with us. You know, so much discussion, thank you, throughout the day about what can be done. And a lot of people throwing up their hands and saying, you know, really not much. But you say there are very powerful and very specific things that could be done by President Obama right this minute. What are they?
Oh, there's a large number of things that are at his disposal short of military action. For example, he could send immediately or direct the United States military to send relief flights into Kiev, like we did in Georgia during the crisis in 2008, because the Bush administration calculated that Russia would be less likely to march on Tbilisi if there were American military aircraft doing relief work there. The other thing he can do, quite frankly, is go after Putin's power source, the oligarchs. You can put sanctions on them individually. You can seize their assets under the Magnitsky Act. You can put visa denials on them so that they and their families can't come to the United States. If a Russian oligarch who's backing Putin finds out that his kid can't go to Harvard next semester or his wife can't go shopping on Fifth Avenue, he's going to be pretty ticked off and he's going to take it out on Vladimir Putin. You can call an emergency meeting of NATO. Expel the Russian ambassador to NATO. Tell the Russians, if you take any military action against Ukrainians, if a single Ukrainian is killed by Russian forces, we will expel your ambassador to NATO. We will shut down the Russian NATO Council. We will expel your ambassadors to the EU, and European countries will be expelled in the United States. We can take action to give military aid to the Ukrainian governments so that they can defend their territory. There's a whole laundry list of things that can be done.
You know, what about the coordination with countries like Poland, who obviously at this point are also fearful that if a domino effect starts to happen here, they could be in the crosshairs as well?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that we haven't done in the United States for a long time is that we've let NATO expansion become moribund. So after the Cold War, we invited 10 former Warsaw Pact countries into the NATO alliance, and those countries are now protected because they have Article 5 commitments, which means that an attack on one is an attack on all. And then we sort of stopped. We invited Ukraine, but then they sort of fell off. Georgia wanted to join, and they didn't come. Moldova wants to come into NATO. We should immediately revive another round of NATO expansion, and as Lindsey Graham said, surround Russia with a noose of democracy.
I mean, that would be such a powerful message. Why do you think the president doesn't sort of immediately make those phone calls and start to amass that democratic force, that ring of democracy that he could do?
Well, one of the things he hasn't done, which you would think he would have done, is speak out in favor of the protesters. I mean, for months and months, the Ukrainian people were rising up against a corrupt regime that had turned away from the West and towards Russia, and hundreds of thousands of people were coming into the streets saying, we want to be part of the West, and we stood silent. And, you know, so we're projecting weakness, we're projecting indifference, and Russia reads those signals, and they respond in kind.
Yeah. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha.
Also.